5 News This Morning starts now.
Hostages are home in Israel after being released by Hamas. How President Trump is on the ground to greet them, and what's next in the ceasefire plan.
As we're waking up this morning, maybe a little bit of a light rain chance, especially farther north and west. Otherwise, this week staying warm and dry. We'll talk more about that here coming up.
It takes a village. Not one entity can address this.
A report shows suicide rates are rising in Arkansas. How health leaders say they're responding.
A live look out in Fayetteville here on this Monday. It is 5:30. Thanks so much for waking up with us here on 5 News This Morning to get your day started. Tiffany and I, our voices, if you noticed, are a little rough
struggling
today.
a little today.
What? I didn't notice.
I don't know why.
Maybe it's the allergies, it's something, but we both woke up without a voice, which is really bad if you're a news anchor for a living, right?
We're hanging in there, Danny.
Yes, you guys are hanging in there. You guys are troopers, so I appreciate you guys battling it out.
Carry the team, Danny.
My back will try. I mean, you guys' backs have been, working hard enough. I'll try my best, but we'll show you what's going on right now across the region. Temperatures right now, as you're walking out the door, in the low to mid 60s, some upper 60s on the eastern Oklahoma side of thing, including a 70 degrees there in Poto. So, yeah, normally this time of year we should be in the upper 40s and low 50s for low temperatures, and well, there's 59 in Clarksville and 58 in Waldron. That's the closest you're going to get to the 50s. Now, you saw a little bit earlier some light rain showers moving through northwest Arkansas, and you can see it again, especially in Benton County. So we'll zoom in a little bit. It's light to moderate, so nothing too crazy. You can see kind of in between the Bella Vista, Bentonville, and Pea Ridge area, making a little bit of a triangle there. And more can move through kind of the Decatur and Gravette areas here in the next half hour or so. But again, for the most part, that's going to be the theme for today. It's going to be pretty light and pretty scattered. So we'll keep those rain chances here through the morning hours into the early afternoon, but most of it, again, is going to be probably Benton County, probably the best chance of seeing them. Otherwise, we'll stay mostly dry and mostly quiet. Still staying warm, especially in the River Valley. The River Valley, that chance, I think, will taper off later this morning, and then we'll see more sunshine, especially to the south, to the east. Going to stay warm this week, but maybe seeing a little bit of a cool down for this weekend. So we'll talk more about that here coming up in your full forecast. For now, take a live look at traffic on this Monday morning. Take a live look in the Bentonville area along I-49 at Walton Boulevard. Good morning to you there. And if you're in northern Benton and northwestern Benton County, you maybe could see a spotty shower this morning. For the most part, though, staying pretty quiet and pretty smooth on that morning commute. We have that full forecast for you coming up in about 15 minutes. Joe and Tiffany.
All right, thank you, Danny. All right, we're starting with some breaking news on an historic day in Israel.
All 20 of the remaining living hostages taken by Hamas 2 years ago are making their way home. Israel's army released still photographs of the first 7 of the hostages released today after over 2 years in Hamas captivity. The photograph showed the men standing on their own feet, talking with Israeli army officers who were the first to meet them. Well, President Trump landed in Israel as the country and Hamas marked day 4 of the ceasefire to meet with family members of the hostages and to address the country's parliament. The president will later chair a summit in Egypt with other world leaders to discuss the next steps. After the hostage release this morning, hundreds of Palestinian prisoners were also set to be released as part of the swap. On Sunday, the president of Israel praised Trump for his role in facilitating a peace agreement.
President Trump will be received by masses of Israelis, by the nation of Israel, with gratitude.
Since the fighting stopped last Friday, thousands have returned to northern Gaza to find their homes in ruins. Dozens of trucks carrying humanitarian aid surged into Gaza on Sunday, with hundreds more expected in the coming days.
Well, it is day 13 of the government shutdown, and the Senate remains in recess for the federal holiday. They'll return to Washington tomorrow. But as a dispute over health care subsidies rages on, the impacts are ripping across the country. More than 4,000 federal workers were sent termination notices last week, and hundreds of thousands have been furloughed. One federal employee was volunteering at a food pantry over the weekend while facing a squeeze himself.
Lots of budget bites and cooking for yourself at home.
Well, for now, the Pentagon is still paying service members, bridging the gap by using $8 billion in unused research funds to cover this week's paycheck. Air traffic controllers could get their first partial paycheck this week, and then nothing if the shutdown continues. The Senate is expected to vote again on spending bills Tuesday that have already failed 7 times.
Well, new details following a helicopter crash at Huntington Beach, south of Los Angeles. The Bell 222 helicopter spun out of control on Saturday afternoon and slammed into palm trees in front of a hotel. As it was spinning, a piece of what appears to be part of the tail broke away. The palm trees prevented a direct collision between the helicopter and a pedestrian bridge, which connects the hotel and the Pacific Coast Highway.
I thought that thing was going to land. I didn't even have a chance to look up. I was dodging to the parking lot.
FAA records show the helicopter is registered to Eric Nixon. His social media shows him performing daring stunt flights. First responders and bystanders pulled Nixon and his passenger from the cockpit. 3 pedestrians were also injured. They're still hospitalized, but their conditions are unknown. Well, now to the latest on a deadly mass shooting in South Carolina over the weekend. At least 4 people were killed and 20 people were injured in a bar early Sunday morning. The shooting took place on St. Helena Island. Many of those gathered in the bar at the time of the shooting. They were attending a high school reunion. The Beaufort County Sheriff's Office said it is investigating persons of interest, but no arrests have been made.
Well, new numbers from the CDC say Arkansas had the only significant rise in suicide rates nationwide from 2022 to 23. We spoke with the Department of Health on what they say is behind the increase and how leaders are responding. 5 News reporter Lauren Spencer has the story.
According to the CDC, Arkansas's suicide rate rose more than 12% in 1 year, from 18 deaths per 100,000 people in 2022 to over 20 in 2023. That's 626 Arkansans lost to suicide, about 80 more than the year before.
This is not a thing which happened overnight. It's been a product of increasing mental health crises in the state and across the nation.
Deputy Chief Medical Officer for ADH, Dr. Bala Simon, says the state's rise is a result of what he calls a trifecta: mental health challenges, a lack of access to care, and substance abuse.
Almost 15% of Arkansas adults used either opioids for painkiller or abused opioids or have illicit substance use, alcohol, tobacco.
He says 1 in 5 adults in Arkansas live with a mental illness, but nearly half don't receive the treatment. He says the department is working with partners like UAMS and veteran and community organizations to expand prevention efforts and promote 988 crisis resources.
It takes a village, not one entity can address this. So we work through our partners. As I mentioned, we have a slew of epidemiologists who constantly, as the new data comes available, look at the trends, look at the hot spots, which part of the state is seeing increase in